Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So it is deadline day today, and a name that we thought wasn't even going to be on the market 3 days ago because Devils general manager Tom Fitzgerald told the media that he was not shopping Tyler Toffoli. Well, now he's traded. Now he's a Winnipeg Jet. He's heading to the Winnipeg Jets for a 2025 second-round pick and a 2024 third-round pick. I personally thought that if they were going to trade Toffoli, considering there were extension talks, I thought it was going to be a first-round pick. I definitely thought there was going to be a first-round pick. Sorry, I just dropped my water. Involved in this trade. So for it to only be a second and a third round pick, this is fantastic work by the Winnipeg Jets. When looking at Toffoli last year, 73 points in 78 games. This year, the point production isn't as good, but the goal pace has honestly improved. He has 26 in 61 games, which puts him on pace for 35 goals. Toffoli is just an ideal top six scoring winger. So for the Winnipeg Jets in their lines, they are now one of the deepest teams in the entire NHL. A great top six. Obviously, this is with Velarde out. I think he's like day-to-day or something. So he's going to be on that first line. You're probably going to slot Toffoli on that second line. A third line of Niederreiter, Lowry, Appleton, or Iafallo. That's a very, very good third line. So they have a full top nine. That's Cole Perfetti's on the goddamn fourth line right now. So they are one of the deepest teams in terms of their forward core. Defense core is solid. I don't think it's really knocking anybody's socks off in terms of this, but it's Josh Morrissey, who is a legit top 15 defenseman in the entire NHL, and just a lot of solid, reliable, two-way defensive guys, and you have Connor Hellebuck in net, so you don't need the best defense core in the entire NHL. So this is now a complete team when looking at the Winnipeg Jets. They were lacking some forward depth. They go out, they get Sean Monahan, who has been fantastic for them, and now only adding Tyler Toffoli into the mix. It is just looking very good if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan. Kevin Cheveldayoff went fully aggressive and only gave up a first, a second, and a third. And I think it was a conditional fourth on the Sean Monahan trade that becomes a third if they make the Stanley Cup final. So not that much draft capital. Didn't risk any of their good prospects like Rucker McGrody, Brad Lambert, Barlow that they took this year in the draft. Didn't really risk any serious thing because their first round pick, they're probably going to win the Central Division. That's at the earliest going to be 25th overall. So when looking at it, a very good job by Kevin Cheveldayoff in terms of assembling what is now truly a legit contender. I previously thought Colorado, Dallas, the winner of that first round series, probably would beat the Winnipeg Jets, but now the Winnipeg Jets have such an advantage in net as well as matching them in terms of forward depth. I think the Central Division is going to be absolute war. Those are probably 3 out of the top 7 teams in the NHL, in my opinion. When looking at the Eastern Conference, Florida is really the only team that's loading up. Carolina obviously loaded up to a degree. Rangers really haven't done anything thus far, as well as the Oilers making one minor move. The Knights have gotten pretty aggressive, but I would probably still have the Winnipeg Jets over them based on how they looked. Then the Canucks kind of staying put. The Winnipeg Jets are a legit top 6, not top 16, obviously. Top 6 Stanley Cup team in the entire NHL. I'm really liking how they're looking right now. If Connor Hellebuck can play to the level that we expect, I would maybe say that they have the inside track to make it out of the Central Division bracket to make the Western Conference Finals, considering in that first round they will be playing a lackluster team that they should be able to take care of in 5 or 6 games. Meanwhile, Dallas and Colorado are going to go to absolute war. But moving on from a Devils perspective, it's very underwhelming as a return. I understand why you want to trade a Tyler Toffoli. He is getting up there in age, I believe 33 years old. If you look at it, were you going to give him this 3 to 4 year extension at $5-6 million? I can see why Tom Fitzgerald didn't want to do that. But when looking at the Devils and looking at the Sharon Govich trade, it's not looking good right now. It's not looking good. I do think Toffoli is still a better player than Sharon Govich right now. Obviously, the goaltending really just screwed them, so Toffoli wasn't really able to get in the playoffs and see how they do in the playoffs. I still think it was an upgrade this year, and it was the right play to upgrade after a 112-point season. But the Devils now decide to opt for picks that they could potentially use down the line in cap space now that they kind of open up by not having to pay Toffoli to go out and get a goalie. I understand if Tom Fitzgerald uses these picks to go trade for a goalie, uses the $5 to $6 million that he was going to spend on a Toffoli extension to bring in a Jacob Markstrom, that does make sense because when we're looking at the Devils cap situation, they don't really have any key free agents or anything this summer for the most part. Now that Toffoli is obviously traded, just a lot of depth pieces. I believe they have around $12 million in cap space, and now, you don't have to re-sign Toffoli. So their core is going to be here next year. Their core is still going to be very solid, and I think as long as they can fix that goalie position, and if this trade helps them go out and fix that goalie position, I think it is a okay deal given the context of the return. It is pretty disappointing in terms of trade grades. I would give the Winnipeg Jets an A, not giving up a first round pick for, again, a guy that had 73 points, 35 goal pace. That is fantastic by Kevin Cheveldayoff. Meanwhile, the Devils not getting a first absolutely stinks. And Sharon Govich, you got to combine both of these deals. Them basically giving up a 25-year-old that has 26 goals as well, like Toffoli. That is very disappointing. They would obviously want Sharon Govich, who could have been a core piece for the next 5 or 6 years over that while being pretty cap controlled. It's definitely disappointing if you're a Devils fan. It's a better alternative than if he somehow went to free agency and they lost him for nothing. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that they should have got at least a first round pick given the circumstances. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Hopefully we get some more trades. It's only 12:30. We still got 2.5 hours until the actual deadline. Maybe the Rangers will finally do something. Maybe the Oilers will bulk up after seeing what the Knights did recently and other Western Conference teams. Avalanche probably have another goddamn move up their sleeve. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Tyler Toffoli trade? What grades would you give these teams? Again, I'm at an A and a C+, and I'll be seeing the next one probably soon.